Let's now have a look at point 4. Ooh, hello. Be debt-free or have a super strategy to get there. So we talked in detail in the 50s episode about having that super strategy. If you have rocked up and this is your first day listening to Retire Right or watching Retire Right and you can't turn back time and put the mortgage on minimum payments and salary sacrifice to super, you still have a mortgage and decent amount of super, how do we, I'll just see if it's in your next point. I'm just going to preview. I think there was only 3 points. Yeah. I think my question is there any way to get money out of super if you're still working and over 60 to pay the mortgage off other than that TTR that we talked about?
No, probably the short answer. Other than if still working may be different to ceasing a position of employment.
Yeah, and that's kind of maybe where I want to scratch and double click on.
So this is a nice headline, be debt-free in your 60, but I'm not expecting everyone on their 60th birthday to wake up and go, geez, my mortgage is gone. But there are some strategies you've got to start to consider. So one, as mentioned, the TTR. So if you can't get a full pension, which we'll touch on in a second, maybe there's 10% a year you can start to get out that help accelerate that. And if you've got a $400,000 super balance, well, that's $40,000 a year. That's some big chunks that help you might reduce that mortgage faster. If you've got $1 million super balance, well, that's $100,000 a year. Now, as we know, well, that's less in super, but that's a plan to get your mortgage down to maybe free things up. So that's a TTR. Point number 2 effectively could be, well, can I take some lump sums out or accelerate that above that 10%? So how could that work? At the age of 65, irrespective of work status, people have access to get as much super out as they've got in super. Again, whether you should take your whole super out to clear your mortgage is its own separate question. But if I've still got a mortgage of $200,000 at 65 and I've got $600,000 in my super fund, I can take a lump sum out tax-free and clear my mortgage. Can I get to that sooner than 65? Yes, if A, you have retired and you're no longer working between 60 and 65, or B, if you have ceased a position of employment.
Right. Can I keep double clicking on that comment? I'll be provocative and you just tell me as per legislation or law. I've got a full-time job. I'm the librarian at the high school and I'm 59. I've got $600,000 in super. My mortgage is $200,000. At age 59, I decide that I might get a job on Saturday mornings casually at insert cafe here, running tables and then I turn 60 and decide that that position of employment waiting tables, I don't like that anymore. I'm now 60. I'm going to stop doing that. Can I then go, I've just ceased a position of employment. I'm over 60. Can I log into my super fund and say, declaration, pull $200,000 out or move $200,000 into an ABP account-based pension and pay the mortgage off then and continue working at the high school in my own merry way? Can I do that legally as per the legislation?
As per the legislation, yes, you can. And you're right, there's 2 ways to do that. You move the whole 600 to a pension and you take it out, or you take what's called a lump sum withdrawal from accumulation. You ask, hey, I'm going to keep it in accumulation because I'm still putting money in. I want to do a withdrawal, and they say, which box do you qualify? Tick, I'm over 60 and I've ceased a position of employment.
And that's a declaration to the trustee, aka your super fund, not to the ATO.
Correct.
Or APRA or the RTA or whatever.
Yeah. And it's your super fund who's confirming that with you. That's their responsibility to do so.
So they may ask, can we see your final pay slip? Can we see a letter from your employer that you have ceased a letter of employment?
It looks like you're still getting contributions from ex-high school. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw for a few months there I got this extra
from the
$80
cafe.
or from the cafe.
Yeah, that's the one I ended.
I've stopped that one. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yep, no worries. The form's being processed.
Question, and this might be showing my, I won't say age, I'll say my financial acumen, given I've been out of the game so long. I know enough to be dangerous and hold a conversation, hopefully. Remember you could pull a tax-free amount out of accumulation, like what was it, 109, 160, 100, whatever.
Yep.
What's that? And is it still there?
It's still there.
But people just move it to a pension and it doesn't matter?
It was for when the preservation age was 55. So
Yes.
that was for lump sums under the age of 60.
Yes, okay.
So it's still there and relevant maybe for TPD claims, different things like that.
But it's not, it wouldn't be your
not a
go-to.
general retirement because
You can get the money anyway.
at 60 you can get the money, so you don't need that there.
Yeah.
So, it is still there but less relevant because now most of the time
What's the
it's
current
60.
threshold for the tax-free amount?
Well, over 60.
No.
Unlimited.
Like
under
for that
60. Yeah, I
in
think it's
accumulation.
180, 190. If
You
it's
don't
the
know
lump sum.
exactly?
Oh, I don't need to know exactly.
But you know that it exists,
It
and if you need to
exists.
find it, you will.
Correct. I know how to find the answers. I don't need all the answers. But while we're being, I've been wondering when this was going to come up on the podcast, and so I'll throw this out there now. Back to your cafe when you're 59.
Yes.
Again, this is not advice. I'm not saying this should be done, but let's say you're 61 and there's a local election coming up,
There is.
or a state one or a federal one, and you go, you know what, I've always interested in doing that. I might go along for the day. And
You get paid.
They're going to pay me. I'll
Good
get
money.
$200 or $300 or $400 for the day. They've got to pay some super on top. Is that a position of employment?
It is.
It is.
And you could cease it after that election day.
Yeah. So there is no technical definition as to how long the position of employment's got to be, how relative it is to your normal hourly salary.
It would just have to probably be in that financial year, in that year of your age 60 or more.
So
right?
yeah, good point. So back to your librarian, if they stop the cafe job at 59 and 11 months,
Yeah, it shows
does not
over.
count.
No.
Your final pay slip or your date of exit has to be when you are 60 years old and X number of days.
Yes.
So, so cease position of employment before 60 does not count. It has to be after you're 60.
Yep.
And then that declaration you send to your super fund has to be after that final date.
I will also jump in there because I think it's really important. You see this in the Facebook group. They either put in the Facebook group, and if you do want to join the Facebook group, just put when it says, where did you hear about this? Please put I heard Glenn and Martin on the podcast and
Tips for 60s.
tips for 60s, just because there's so much spam out there and we'll know that you're a real person. I did see this the other day with ceasing a position of employment for a self-employed person, and they said this. I'm over 60, I've got a company. Can I stop working in the company and not draw a salary but just take director's fees? I pretty much said no, because it's very hard. You're literally getting paid to be a director. Like you're not physically working, installing the air conditioners or whatever. You might be not drawing a salary or whatever, but you still own that company.
Yeah.
And you are still literally, if you are even taking a director fee or a dividend, maybe dividends different, but I don't want to get into the weeds.
Generally, I agree. I don't think in that case they really cease position of employment. There are some creative ways that are probably more for today to get into that, but I would agree. And that's the same, whether you're same employer but gone from full-time to part-time or casual, or I've changed my job title, you're still the same employer.
And I think just on that, the more I think about that company thing, it's all about, can you prove it to your super fund or trustee, and potentially, it probably is a 0.2% of a chance the ATO coming in and auditing, but can you prove that you actually stopped working? Now, the company thing, I'll use that as an example. There's you and your son and your daughter, and there's 3 of you that own the air conditioning company. You literally stop working and you still own a third of the company, and there is proof that just because you're an owner of the company, you get a dividend I think that's probably going to be okay because you can say, look, there are the 2 working directors or 3 working directors. I'm literally receiving money now if I was owning a share in the plumbing or air conditioning business or shares in CBA.
Yeah, agreed.
So talk with your accountant and your financial advisor always on your specific situation. Let's have a look now and move on to the next point.
So being debt free, and then the other thing
Do you want to finish on debt free?
Yeah, just have a plan too. So we kind of got excited there, but there's TTRs, they're taking lump sums out either before 60 or at 60 or 65, or it might be that the home you're in, is not going to be your forever home. So it's okay. And I've got clients that we work with that I'm in this house, but we know at 65 or at 67, we're going to downsize it. And we're going to downsize because of the location we live in. We're going to downsize for $3 million. We're going to buy somewhere else for $1.2 million. Therefore, the $300,000 left of the mortgage is going to be clear then. In that case, if that's the clear plan, we're probably not ripping a whole bunch of money out of super to clear the mortgage because then they're going to be left with too much money we can't get back in. So, again, that's where your overall strategy's got to work together. So have a plan. Yes, it might be pulling money out of super, but it might just be when you sell, it's cleared that way, and then put the rest of your strategy around that, and then downsize the contributions and other things might come into play.
I might also tack it in here because I don't think it's in your slide deck. We get a lot of people reach out to the Retire Right website. So you can go to retireright.com.au, click Get Help. I'll refer you to a financial advisor if you are after one. All the advisors that we use primarily are remote businesses and they can work with you wherever you are in Australia. If you fit the requirement for Martin's business and they have capacity at Financial Edge, I'll refer you there. If you don't, I won't. I won't waste your time or Financial Edge's time. Just saying that now. I'll refer you to the most appropriate person. But having said all that, I see, because I personally look at the requests. It's part of my job. And I go, that one there will be good for Martin. That one there will be good for X, Y, Z. If it's a complex aged care thing, you can go to Fratley. Text him today. He's going to come back up. He's going to fly into Newcastle. As a teaser, we did an episode of how much you need to retire using Centrelink. He's going to come back and do how much do you need to retire self-funded.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So now, all that to say, on these forms that I see people submit, there are so many people that we see that have multiple investment properties. I would hypothesize in your 60s, you might start to have a think about what your plan is for your investment properties. And if you've got 3 properties and you're 65 or 67 and you're going to retire in a couple of years and you know that you need to offload these properties, part of the strategy is, well, that property's got meat in it. The other, it's probably got less capital gains issue. Would rather sell that now in this financial year, pay off the mortgage because we want to sell the other 2 properties when we don't have an income. So I just want to plant that seed in your 60s. If you do hold residential real estate, more than 1 or 2 investment properties, what's your liquidity plan? Is there a plan to start to sell them down, or is there one that needs maintenance and, all right, piss that off, we'll keep the other ones? Or
and I think I would agree because that's often some of the more complex ones we work with. And I've seen people work with, okay, well, I've got a very healthy, I've got a $6 million investment property portfolio and there's only $2 million of debt. I'm just going to let that run forever and it'll pay itself off with rent over time. That might be what you think you're going to do at 55 or 60, but usually by the time those people are reaching their 65s or 70s, interest rates have gone up and there's been a vacant over here for a little period of time or extra repair costs on that. Usually, 90% of the time when I'm working with someone like that, they come to the realization of like, oh no, I'd still just like to be debt free. I'm happy to have a $4 million portfolio with no debt rather than a $6 million property with debt. Doesn't matter what the spreadsheet might show in the next 30 years. Just the reality of that cash flow is really important in retirement.
Yeah, so it's just a consideration because I do see the ones that they've got multiple properties and
it could different tax headaches. And
because that's it. Like the way that you set up, if you're retiring in a year and then you'll have, your tax, you won't have any income tax. Well, any gain goes on your tax return anyway. And yes, you're starting at 0, but you're not going to likely sell 2 properties in one financial year.
Yeah.
And if there is one now that you can just sell, clear the mortgage, and you're over the property and blah, 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 it's a consideration. Hey, it's Glenn here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.